Did all of the early church fathers get everything right? No, of course not. But when we're talking about a soteriological worldview, anthropology, the nature of man, and you start with Augustine and you virtually ignore the teachings of the church by and large, up to that point, you're doing an injustice to Christian theology and the development of it.
Leighton, I love you. I think you're open-minded and honest, but as a Baptist, you need to take your own advice. When you look into the soteriological views of the earliest fathers pre, but also post-Augustine, they affirm the necessity of baptism for salvation. Why is this? Because they believed baptism imparts the grace of justification and regeneration. They think that through baptism, you receive forgiveness of sins. As a Baptist, you don't believe that. You diverge from the consensus of the early pre-Augustine and post-Augustine fathers. Not only can we look at the consensus of the salvific significance of baptism in the early centuries, we could do the same about the Eucharist, but we could also do the same about perseverance of the saints, or once saved, always saved, or eternal security, or whatever you want to call it. As the specific type of Baptist that you are, Leighton, you believe that Christians, true Christians who have been justified, can't lose their salvation. You are influenced by John Calvin in this area because no one prior to John Calvin believed that a justified Christian could not lose his salvation. Christians before Augustine, Augustine himself, and after Augustine believed that you could truly be justified, apostatize, and fall away, thereby losing your salvation. So I know, Leighton, if you take your own advice and look just generally into the soteriological views of the earliest church fathers, you will cease to be a Baptist. How do I know this? Because I took your advice. I looked into the earliest church fathers as an indication of truthfulness of one interpretation of Scripture over the other. If you look at the unanimous consensus of the fathers with regard to soteriological viewpoints, you're going to cease to be a Baptist. We can say with certainty that there's no such thing as a first, second, third, or fourth century Baptist.